This is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling. When do they get to sing My Way?
Hello, kiddies. We are going to have a good time today. We have got, we're going to do this whole episode a little bit different, Heidi. Are you ready?
I'm very excited to be able
Okay,
to.
perfect. Today's guest, we're going to listen to some of his music from earlier records. He's got
Yes.
a brand new song we're going to play. And if we get to play brand new music, I mean, if you give us that offer, we will follow you anywhere.
Anywhere.
So
Absolutely.
today's guest has played with our friend Cherry Vanilla,
Yes. All of our favorite people.
Mick Ronson, the Mayo Brothers, that would be
Again,
Sparks.
all of
Yeah.
our favorite people.
Ron Wood, Ian Hunter, Espionage, Johnny Cougar, Michael Bolton, Ellen Foley, Hilly Michaels. Hi.
Dan Hartman.
Dan Hart.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. How I forgot. I literally just missed it. You've produced a bunch of people. You've done all this cool stuff. Now you have, I believe, it was 3 solo records that you've done, and some new stuff that you're just finishing up on. Is my math right?
That's correct.
Okay.
I have 2 Warner Brothers records, which I began immediately following the Hunter Ronson tour. I believe it was 79. We finished early 79. And I knew I was going to be signing a recording deal with Warner Brothers. My manager at the time, Jake Hooker from the Arrows, and Lorna Luft's husband heard my demos before I went out on the road when I was still drumming, and asked me to represent me. And he had just signed a new recording deal with who was it? I can't remember, but it was one of the heavyweights in the record industry. Just started a label, and he heard my music, and he said, I could get you a record deal. And I said, well, I'm not really looking for a record deal. I'm having a blast playing drums, but whatever. And a week before the Hunter Ronson tour, he called me up and he said, I just played your music for Jerry Wexler and all the top A&R people in New York. They have guaranteed you a worldwide recording contract, a 2-record deal. And I said, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
I'll
Sure.
take it. And so when I finished going on tour with Ian, I began my preparation for the first record. And Warner Brothers had only heard 3 songs, so they gave me a bunch of money and they said, go into the studio and write another 3 or 4 and, record them. And we want to make sure that you haven't been sitting on the first 3 songs for 10 years and that you could sustain yourself as a recording artist and prove to us that you could write a bunch of new songs, that you're a self-sustaining singer-songwriter, recording artist. So I went back into the studio, hired a bunch of friends, and gave them another 3 or 4 songs and that kind of clinched the deal. And they said, "Wow, you can do it," and we're really happy. We love the songs, and while waiting, Chapel Music also got involved. And Roy Thomas Baker happened to hear the demo. Somebody sent Roy Thomas Baker the demo of my songs. So he called up Warner Brothers insisting that he had to produce me, and Chapel Music caught wind of that. So they offered me a phantasmic deal with Chapel, and they were just huge amounts of money that I couldn't say no to. And they gave me a contract that was as thick as a phone book.
Of course.
And I had to sign it. And I trusted Jay Cougar. I trusted my lawyer at the time, Mr. Peter Shukat, who was the lawyer for all the top acts at the time in New York City. And I signed the contract and went into pre-production for Calling All Girls.
Excellent. Before we move on, let's just play the title track, which is the first track on the record and is the one that you suggested we start with. And I think it's a perfect way to start, mostly because I want to refer to all beverages as bubbly wine from now on.
Okay.
But that might just be me.
Oh, no, I'm with you on that.
Okay. Don't you already do that, Heidi?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I got lots of money, I got lots of time. Bought myself a penthouse, filled it up with bubbly wine. Bought a helicopter, yeah, I got a lot. You should see the caddy parked out on my favorite yacht. I've got everything that my money can buy, but I'm so unhappy and now I know why. There's only one treasure in all of the world I never could buy, so I'm calling all. I got motorcycles, one for every day. Hotels in Miami, paintings now on public display. Bought a house in London, one in Tokyo. Oil wells in Texas, real estate in New Mexico. I've got everything that my money can buy, but I'm so unhappy and now I know why. There's only one treasure in all of the world I never could buy, so I'm calling all. I'm calling all girls, I'm calling all girls. I'm calling all girls, I'm calling all girls.
This is a good chance to go over some of the folks. When you said, yeah, I just threw together some friends. Can we talk about some of your friends?
Sure.
We've got Greg Hawkes on synth from the Cars. You've got Davy
Yeah.
Johnstone, best probably known for his work with Elton John. And like you mentioned before, you have Dan Hartman,
Playing
member
bass.
of the, author of Free Ride.
Yeah.
It's a nice little
and
group of fellas.
Yeah, and G.E. Smith was also on guitar.
Can you forget GE, Luke?
Wikipedia doesn't mention him.
Well, that's because
I'm going to go in and
you
fix
have
this.
the real source.
I know. I am going to go in
At
and
least
fix
right
this.
here.
I know. We're going to tell Wikipedia a thing or two about a thing or two. But that is quite a group of folks.
Yeah.
Were they all playing in the same room? Were you guys working together? Was it individual sessions to lay everything down?
I think what happened was, if my memory serves me, I played drums,
Mm-hmm.
Dan was playing bass, and either Jimmy McAllister from the Sparks touring band from Big Beat was playing guitar, and we laid down a basic track and just brought in people on a day-to-day basis to record their overdubbing. Now, what's funny about that is I had done a demo of Calling All Girls with Rupert Holmes producing it, and with Dan Hartman and Sal Maida of Roxy Music and Jimmy McAllister again. And that was so kick-ass. What we were trying to do was reproduce all the magic and energy on the demo, which was slamming. And I think in a number of ways we outdid the demo. On the demo, it's just as powerful and exciting. You could just hear my lead vocal much clearer.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ran across a demo, the demo that was part of the first batch of 3 that Warner Brothers heard and offered me the contract. And I just heard the demo of it, played it in my car, and went, wow, we should have just released the demo. This is incredible. That often happens when a band or an artist goes into a studio and records music, and it's high quality demo fidelity, and then you try to repeat all the excitement, the initial magic and excitement of the demo, and it's like you're doing a cover of your own song. But I think we were fairly in the ballpark. I think we were in the ballpark, with Roy Thomas Baker's super recording techniques and such. We did a good job reproducing the demo, but someday in the future, I would like to put out the demo version of Calling All Girls and a few more from Calling All Girls, the LP, and just allow people to hear an A-B it for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's great. The demo just blew me away. I went, wow, this is great. And prior to doing the actual Calling All Girls record, I had people like Mick Ronson loved the song so much. He said, "Oh, can I come in and play guitar?
I guess.
Lead on
If you
it.
have
And
to.
can I sing that I'm Calling All Girls?" I said, "Of course you can. Of course you can." So I have all these different demo versions of Calling All Girls with some great players on it. And someday, hopefully soon, I'll put them out on the internet so people could hear them and enjoy them.
It's like its own EP, just all the Calling All
Yeah.
Girls versions. That would be incredible.
Again, like you
Yeah.
said, like just to hear these friends on this record would be unbelievable.
All the
Dude,
girls
but
would answer.
They would totally pick up.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's go to the next track. Turn Me On Your Radio. Anything you want to say before
Oh,
we hit play on this one?
turn me on your radio. Yeah. I was preparing for Calling All Girls, and I was doing a lot of writing with, I had a writing partner who contributed 2 or 3 songs on Calling All Girls. The guy by the name of Billy Cross.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a band called Joe Bryant during the early 70s, mid 70s in New York. And he was also the musical director and guitarist for the Rolling Thunder, Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder review at the very beginning. And he loved pop music, and he said, Hilly, you must come over to my apartment. Be here at 12 o'clock on the button, and we will write as many songs as we can for your record.
Wow.
And I like the passion that Billy had. So we wrote a few songs together. One of them being "Turn Me On Your Radio." I think it's co-written by Billy Cross.
This is what Wikipedia says, but they also say G.E. Smith didn't play on the record. So who knows what's going on over there? We're gonna have to go
Yes.
have some words. So let's play a little bit of this one, and we'll come back and go from there.
Oh, that's Tommy Mandel is really featured on that. He was he played with Bryan Adams for about 13 years.
Mm.
And he was also on tour with the Hunter Ronson leg that we did together. And I used Tommy for most of the synthesizer work, and that's all Tommy Mandel on the synthesizer.
All right, let's listen to Tommy's work here. Here we go.
Okay.
Turn Me On Your Radio.
Day after day, turning me down, 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 turning me round, 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 round. And you know every way to make me dance, know every kind of sweet romance that I can look for. But someday, girl, you wait and see, you'll find out what you mean to me. And that day, girl, then I won't have to say, turn me on your radio, turn me on your radio on. Turn me on your radio, turn me on your radio, turn me on your radio on.
I got that all wrong.
You did.
That's not the song Tommy Mandel plays. It begins with the synthesizer.
What's the one that Tommy's on? We'll play that one then. Could it be?
Tommy Mandel, that's a great song that Billy Cross
Mhm.
and I wrote together. But the one that's really cool with Tommy Mandel is I can't remember. It begins with a synthesizer.
U.S. Mail?
U.S. Mail. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We have that one. Excellent. One thing I wanted to bring up before we get to this one. This record sounds so modern and so current. I don't know if production has not changed since then, or is everyone's just sort of going like, we did it better then. Because the guitars, everything. I know you kind of like, obviously you've just listened to the demos again. You've sort of like, you have what we have is pretty damn good, is what I'm saying, is the long and the short of it. It's just,
thank
it
you.
sounds great. So.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, the 3 demos I originally gave to Warner Brothers or Jake to do whatever he wanted with. He told me he would have a recording contract for me worldwide within a week, and I just kind of laughed at him. But the 3 songs I was carrying around with me in my drum bag, was a tape of Calling All Girls, Gemini, and another song called Up She Goes Down. And that was kind of Ramones meets the Sweet kind of a song, which Warner Brothers passed on. And I don't know why they said no to this, but it was great, just really great. So that's why they said go in and do another 3 songs. I mean, we love Calling All Girls, we love Gemini, and they weren't so keen on using Up She Goes Down, about some teenage female firefighter who joins the fire department.
That's like the perfect pop
pretty
song right there.
Right?
Yeah.
It's PG lyrics, but it's funny. It's tongue in cheek, and Dan and I finished up a very sparse, basic track at his house in Westport, Connecticut, and it's just mainly just me and Dan Hartman are just tracking and overdubbing and overdubbing and overdubbing on Up She Goes Down and Gemini and Calling All Girls. If it hadn't been for Dan Hartman helping me with all this stuff, helping me finish up those 3 demos that Rupert Holmes began producing for me, I wouldn't have the contract or anything like that. So I owe a great deal of gratitude to Dan Hartman at the time. We had just met after the Sparks, my tenure with Sparks, promoting Big Beat, and he called me up, or I called him up, and I heard he was trying to put another pop band together, like the Edgar Winter Group. And I went to his house, and he had a full 24-track recording set up in this house, and I played him my uncompleted demos, and I said, will you help me finish these? And he said, yeah, I love these, let's go to town. So what's next?
Should we play a little bit of U.S. Mail, since we talked about that before?
Sure.
Let's do that, and then maybe we can switch over to some of the tracks on Lumia. Let me do this here.
Okay.
Click there. All right, so here is U.S. Mail.
Coast to coast, you're out there waiting, hoping I'll deliver rain or shine. Now your telephone is ringing, but I'm the only thing that's on your mind. east to west anticipating. You know that I'm always there on time. But there's no need for alarm, dear. To keep me from your arms would be a crime. Yes, I'm your U.S. mail, specially for you. Yes, I'm your U.S. mail, red and white and blue. U.S., 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 U.S. I'm your U.S. mail. U.S., 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 U.S. I'm your U.S. mail.
That was U.S. Mail.
Yes.
And I co-wrote that with my cousin. He was a brilliant lyricist, and he wrote the lyrics on that. And he also wrote the lyrics on Calling All Girls, Gemini, Up She Goes Down, which I don't think you're ever going to hear, but maybe.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh. We need to find better relatives, better
You did
talent.
a good job of selling it. So, listening to the record, or these tracks at least, and the record too, it seems like something that the Mail brothers would really respond to.
Agreed.
That you guys have shared interests in musicality, subject matter, really smart lyrics, really interesting wordplay. What'd they make of the record?
I think they liked it. I mean, I must confess that even prior to joining the band, I went out and bought their back catalog and was playing it every day for hours. You know, come on to my house, propaganda, and indiscreet. And I realized, and I saw them on TV, and I also grew up listening to Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. And after hearing Sparks, I thought to myself, geez, you could really push the envelope and do some real tongue-in-cheek stuff. There are no rules here. And after doing their record and doing their American and North American tour, I sat in my motel room after the tour and picked up a guitar. Jimmy was with me, Jimmy McAllister, and I started writing songs. And I was super influenced by Sparks. They gave me the courage to push the boundaries and, you know, have some funny tongue-in-cheek material. And I think the first song I wrote in my motel room in 76, 3 years before I began even working on it, or 2 years, was Calling All Girls with Jimmy. And we were having a blast, and we ended up meeting after the record was released in California, and we met at farmers market. And you know, those guys, they're super nice, super polite. They would never say anything derogatory or negative. And to me, they convinced me that, they were truly happy for me, and they told me they enjoyed the record.
That's
So,
all you can ask for.
I was very thrilled. Sparks had a really, really profound influence on my writing, giving me a clear conscience to do or write any kind of song about anything with tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
And
you can hear it.
a lot. Yeah, a lot of the material on Calling All Girls, especially I think it's the one that made it to Caddyshack, Something on Your Mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to emulate Russell singing the song in this high falsetto, being really frantic. And looking back, I should have just picked up the telephone and called them and asked them if he wanted to do like a guest appearance on my record. But I didn't. And it's a funny thing. When I was working with Roy, he kind of had these very unusual rules that I should not have anyone play on the record that I had previously played drums with.
Huh.
And I really, because I wanted Ian on the record, I wanted Mick on the record, and a few other people. And Roy, and I wanted Ron Russell somehow to guest on the record, but Roy had this very strong opinion as to why I should not have anyone who I drummed for to come play on the record. Now, to this day, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense to you.
No,
I
not
mean,
at all.
Yeah,
in
it's
a
an
way,
interesting approach, certainly.
Yeah, but with Dan Hartman, we had a #1 disco song, despite starting off as a pop band with G.E. Smith and Vinnie Vincent on guitar.
Wow.
Yeah, we rehearsed for like 3 months. We played 2 or 3 shows, and then one morning at his house, he said, "Hey guys, listen to what I just did yesterday," and he plays this instant replay, and so we had to come up with a disco record, and Dan went 180 from pop to disco, and we all kind of went our separate ways after instant replay. But I did tell Roy, look, okay, you're the boss, you're in charge, but there is no way I'm doing this record without Dan Hartman. It's that simple. And for many reasons, I insisted that Dan Hartman be there. We were best friends. We were music allies. And he knew Dan had helped me edit and work on just about every song on Calling All Girls. he would make his way into New York, and we would sit there, and I'd play song after song, day after day, and he would say, "Nah, get rid of this part, and let's take this part and put it over here." And I knew that he was so instrumental when it came time to do the record with Roy.
He had that critical ear to listen to it and go, "This is unnecessary," or "This can be cleaned up," or "We can do this better."
Yeah, the record should actually say produced by Roy Thomas Baker, Hilly Michaels, and Dan Hartman. But because of politics, it does not read that. And in the song we just heard, I originally wanted Ethel Merman to sing Rocket's Great Glare. And we couldn't get Ethel Merman, so my manager, being a brother-in-law to Liza, I said, "Can we get Liza to sing it?" Liza and Lorna.
Mm-hmm.
So Liza took Ethel Merman's place, and she sang the national anthem during the end of U.S. Mail.
Wow.
She comes barreling in.
That's outstanding.
So you mentioned, and I want to just touch on this quickly. I want to be cognizant of your time and keep things rolling. But you mentioned being in a group with G.E. Smith and Vinnie Vincent. Now, Vinnie has had some. There are things people have said about him, and he is not known for being the most reliable of bandmates. How did you guys work together? Do you have a good time?
Well, we went out. Vinnie and GE did not get along. Dan was always referring. And when we went to tour, all these, we were lip syncing for about 3 months at every television place. And there could have been 2 or 3 in every country. And we did this 3-month lip sync tour. And I didn't really talk to Vinnie that much. And I don't know. He hadn't changed his name to Vinnie Vincent. At the time, he was Vinnie Cusano. And I had a couple of arguments with him and taken the piss out of him that he did, which he didn't appreciate.
Fascinating.
I think I told him that there was a total eclipse at about 2:00 in the morning. I went to his hotel room. We were in the same hotel room to borrow the hairdryer. I said, I need this for the morning. And about a half hour later, I gave him a call. I said, "Vinny, where are you? We're all in the lobby." He said, "What are you talking about? It's pitch dark outside." I said, "There's a total eclipse of the sun, man. We got to go to France. Let's go."
Amazing.
And then he went to the lobby and never spoke to me again. And Dan came over to me on some plane that we were taking. He goes, "Hilly, why did you do that to Vinny?" I said, "Come on, Dan. If I called you and said there was a total eclipse a half hour after I just talked to you, are you going to believe me?" And he said, "Well, can you, apologize to him or try to make..." Vinny wouldn't speak to me for years after that, even when he was in KISS. I met up with him at media, and he was still really pissed off at me for pulling that.
That's amazing.
We were in Italy, somewhere in Italy, and a total eclipse of the sun. That's why it's still dark outside.
Wow.
So that's amazing. So to keep things moving, let's. I'm thinking of the tracks I have here from Lumia. What should we, of the three? Which one should we play? Our Love Will Last Forever, Reach for the Vitamins, or Institutional Home?
I think Reach for the Vitamins is pretty cool.
All right, let's play that, and then we can talk about that, and then
Okay.
get to the new stuff.
Okay.
The reason people are probably already fast forwarding through this to get to the new single,
No,
but
they're not. They're listening and rocking out like I am.
okay, fair. All right, let's start this from the beginning. All right, here we go.
Anyone could have seen she was truly a dream, and I knew I was in for my life. And we started at 8 and continued till 8 in the dead, dead heat of the night. She made it all feel so right. But how was I to know she would be this fair? The clock was ticking and my hands were there. The bells went off and I knew she was all mine.
Most of the material on Lumia, I decided to graduate to being to writing music and lyrics, and that is one of them. There's only a couple I co-wrote, and I thought that was a really funny song that, again, influenced by Sparks, giving me a license to, really make it funny. Obviously, I mean, the song is about a guy who is sleeping with a total sex maniac, and he can't keep up with her, so he reaches for his extra potent vitamins, and that's what the song is about.
They got to be about something, and that's as good as any. I mean,
agree.
That's amazing.
I should note that the co-writer I had on the Caddyshack song on the first record, and one or two on Lumia were co-written lyrically by this friend of mine, Morgan Walker. Now, Morgan Walker has such an incredible past. His father was the creator of Beetle Bailey cartoons, newspaper.
Mort Walker.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, and he too was living in Westport and tried out for the Dan Hartman band, but didn't quite. Dan decided, nah. I thought he was a great piano player and a great singer-songwriter, and I actually produced a number of his songs, but I thought his lyrics were really, really good. And so I used his lyrics for Something on Your Mind on album 1, and 1 or 2 on Lumia. The thing about Lumia was I was hanging out a lot with Michael Brown, the guy who wrote Don't Walk Away Renee and Pretty Ballerina, And when he played piano, when we would get together, he would sit at my upright piano. I had my apartment, and he would play these like Bach, Beethoven type of pop songs. The guy was like a genius, the only music genius I've ever played or worked with in my life. And after he would play a few of his songs, he would say, okay, let's work on a couple of yours. I felt so wilted.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I would pick up my guitar and just sort of like chug away. And I felt inferior in the presence of Michael Brown. So I decided to spread my wings a bit as a songwriter and not make it super commercial bubblegum.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Michael Brown's essence kind of wore off on me. Most of the songs on Lumia are very poppy, but there are several that aren't. And I just felt like a total wimp working with Michael Brown and listening to his music. And then I would play him my music, and he would noodle around with it on the piano and change chords to these very unusual chord patterns, chord structures. And so for Lumia, I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to demonstrate the scope of my writing abilities, and I am not going to just do all these calling all girls kind of songs. So I got a little bit more serious about it. And I don't know, there are some people out there that love or enjoy Lumia a lot more than they enjoy calling all girls. They said, oh, you have better songs on Lumia, you know, you could relate to who you are as an artist more on Lumia. It was almost like a songwriting expose. So I could show Chapel Music and Warner Brothers, I could go in any one of these directions. But again, I kept it like 70% true to the reason why they signed me, which was super hyped up pop songs.
Mm-hmm. So let's flash ahead to today. You have a new single.
Okay. I've been working on material on and off for the past 2 years, and I had mixed most of it, but then I bumped into a very, very cool old friend of mine by the name of Chris Lord Algie, who's
Yes.
His name is synonymous with gold platinum, you know, and he's won 5 Grammy Awards as a mixer, producer. And I actually introduced him to Dan Hartman in '83. And Dan, I said, Dan, you have to use this guy, Chris Algie. I just produced a record using Chris. And Dan took my advice, and I sent him my mix of what we're going to, I guess, end with. and it's called "You Send Me," and it's unlike any kind of music I've ever written and recorded. It's rather on the heavy side, but it has flavors of cashmere on it, and somebody said it sounds like Led Zeppelin in the Yellow Submarine cartoon.
I was gonna say it definitely has, like, it's got some. There's definitely some Beatles vibes to it. So it's not, you're not out of the pop realm completely. You're still in kind of if folks love the first records, they're gonna love this just because it is of the same ilk. It's not like you're going out and really trying something completely off the wall. It's a variation on the theme, and it's a really great theme to start with, certainly.
Yes, and I did this song with a fellow by the name of who helped me adding some guitar, Eric Paulos in California. I sent him the stems. He added a few guitar parts, did a lot of pre-production for Chris, arranging, cleaning up the stems and putting things in order. I used a studio here called Long Hill Recording Studios to cut the track, and John Condi should be mentioned, and Bill Hall should be mentioned, because without them sort of backing me, financing the project, there would be no You Send Me and about half a dozen other songs. So I love how it came out. I love what Chris did to it, and it should be out relatively soon. Luke?
Yes.
Heidi?
This is what we want. So if folks, or when folks hear this and they go, I got to get a copy of this, how can they find it? Where do we send them? What's the best link to give them to say, here is to get all of your Hilly Michaels musical needs met and then some?
Well, I have to wait until I have completed remixing the other 5, 6 tracks. Okay. It'll be a month or two. They're just going to have to wait, unfortunately. Yeah. This is just more or less a teaser, Luke.
Perfect.
You know, and I think it's worth it that they hear this and go, holy Kazam.
Yeah.
Hilly's working with Chris Lord-Alge now, and he mixed it, and there is more coming down the pike.
Let's end with this. You Send Me by Hilly Michaels, mixed by Chris Lord-Alge. Hilly, thank you so much. This was so cool. This was really a lot of fun. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun talking to you and Heidi.
Surprise, I never thought I'd fall so hard. I fell for you.
Baby by Hilly Michaels, mixed by Chris Lord-Alge. Available very soon. Watch the space for details.
You can check us out on all the various socials. Be sure to visit our website at rockandrollgradschool.com, and don't forget to leave us a review.
Today's show is produced by myself and Heidi Hedquist. Our reluctant producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thank you, good night, and may all your favorite bands stay together.